have met someone that there's a bit of conflict there, you've tried to bring them in, have conversations with them, you've tried different tactics, but they're just not moving, they're not actually growing, they're not taking on what you're saying, they're still behaving in the same way, and it's not very cohesive to the team. Like, they're upsetting people unnecessarily. Now, there's when we're looking at conflict resolution, it's very important to get very clear on the issue that we want to address, because a lot of stuff can come in and can make that issue very, very fuzzy, and it's a difficult enough conversation as it is, right? It's not something that we look forward to. So it's really important, and I suppose my tips here for dealing with this, it's really, really important to really get clear with what that specific issue is. So it could be that someone's explosive, something happens on site and they're explosive, and they tend to sort of shout at everyone, despite the fact that what they're shouting about is wrong, and you completely agree with what's happened over here is wrong, but the way that behaving about that is not okay. So be very specific to what the actual issue that you want to address is. And then, it's really important to, before you have these conversations with people, look at how they're going to be feeling. Look at what traits they have. What beliefs do you perceive them to be having? And how can you navigate through this conversation that it's a vulnerable, safe place to unpack a difficult conversation? And also look at how can you give them responsibility to change? How can you get them to take accountability for their actions to change? And then also have a look at how you want to leave them. Like, we want to leave them positive, because at the end of the day, we want them to succeed. That's the main intention, is the fact that we want this person to succeed. So look at how can I leave this person feeling positive at the end of this conversation? Because the last thing that we want is them to go away with their tail between their legs, feeling really miserable and doubting themselves, because their behavior is going to breed behavior around them, right? So how can we leave them in a positive state that they're feeling a bit inspired about what their next move is? So before you have these conversations, guys, have a look, be very clear with the issue. Look at how they're going to respond, how they're going to be perceived, what they think they're going to be seeing, what you think they're going to be believing, so you can really address these issues and be compassionate for these issues. And then how can you get them to take accountability and responsibility for their next moves on how to improve? And how can you also leave them feeling in a positive state? Because if they're leaving inspired and they're leaving positive, that's then also going to breed behavior, breeds behavior, right? So that's also going to breed positivity and inspiration out into your team. So they're my top tips for when you want to resolve conflict. Let me know how you go. I'd love to hear. Speak to you soon.